Did y'all see what true freshman wide receiver for USC, Zachariah Branch, did last night? Dude put on an absolute clinic. Over 200 all-purpose yards in his first action at the collegiate level. And if you have been keeping up with recruiting and what USC's been doing there, you know that Zachariah Branch had a ton of juice coming out of high school. He was a top 5 player for us here at On 3. Not top 5 wide receiver, top 5 player in the country, according to Charles Power and company. Charles Power, again, director of scouting and rankings at On 3. So what can we take away from this performance for Zachariah Branch and what he did last night? We'll unpack it, but make sure you're subscribed, USC fans. Had a lot of y'all join the party lately. We're glad to have you here. College football season is now rocking and rolling. We want you a part of this, so make sure you're subscribed right here. We're live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Also follow me on Twitter, not calling it X, calling it Twitter, and on Instagram at JD Pickell to keep up with everything we're doing here. So what we saw last night from Zachariah Branch, it's easy to just say, oh, good for him. Had a good game against, lesser competition, to call a spade against San Jose State. That's great. Good for that freshman. Strong debut. That's exciting for him. What we saw last night was not just a good freshman debut. Everyone who saw him run back that kick and has been keeping up with what they've said about Zachariah Branch during fall camp, that was a little bit of special last night, what we saw. Zachariah Branch is going to be a special player, and it's a big statement. It's a big comp to make for this kid who's had one collegiate game under his belt. But you kind of know special when you see it. It felt like we were seeing shades of Reggie Bush, who did some incredible things for that USC team when he was running back kicks in the Coliseum. When you saw DeAnthony Thomas in the open field. When you saw Tavon Austin, like Zachariah Branch has some of those qualities about him. Not the biggest guy in the world, but shifty, explosive, electric in the open field. The way that he kind of tempoed that kick return and then let the sort of kickoff unit come around him, and then he just punched it when he saw a gap. The poise and the confidence that takes as a true freshman in that spot, not just the ability, the psyche you have to be in to be able to make a play like that. That's not a true freshman kind of play for Zachariah Branch. I don't care who you're playing against. That was a big-time spot, big-time play, and USC fans should be overwhelmingly excited. 232 all-purpose yards from him last night. That wasn't just a freshman having a good game. That was special. And everybody who downloaded Fubo or the free trial, whatever you had to do to watch that game last night, you got to see it live. And I think we saw a star being born, not just at USC, but on a national landscape. This season, he's going to be a star. So what does it mean for USC going forward? Another infinity stone for Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams in this offense to work with. Because if Zachariah Branch is going to be special, like we saw him be special yesterday, and then you got Brendan Rice, then you got Dorian Singer, and you got Mario Williams, like you go down the line here, all these weapons, the number of guys that you have to account for defensively for USC, this is an enormous headache. There is no possible way to give enough attention to all of these weapons every single down. At some point, somebody's going to get theirs, and that's the problem with USC when you're trying to game plan for them during the week. And to make matters more difficult for Zachariah Branch, he's one of those guys where it's just like, man, just get him the rock. Whether he's in the slot, whether we are rolling out and doing that kind of pseudo triple option thing they were doing against San Jose State yesterday, whether he's returning kicks, heck, split him out wide, throw him a screen, let him go vertical. However you get him the rock, it does not matter. Get number one the football, and good things are going to happen. So for a defense, that means it's very difficult to take him away schematically when you can find different ways to get him the football. If that's all you got to do, it's hard to account for him defensively because then USC kind of gets to pick and choose their matchup. And we saw him yesterday. There's not a lot of matchups you like with him. Not a lot of guys that can keep up with his agility and how quick he is. So Zachariah Branch, man, I'm just saying, it's another weapon for USC's offense now, and they're going to score a lot of points this year. We already knew that. But having him look the way he did last night, only week 0. But again, I think we saw a lot of special from him last night. And this isn't just a flash. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. This wasn't just a freshman having a good day. This was, I think, the starting point for him for the rest of this season. And the competition is going to get tougher. I understand that. But think about the way this changes USC going forward. Yes, you have another guy to throw the football to. From just a special team standpoint, You think teams are going to want to kick to Zachariah Branch consistently after what you saw last night? Changes the starting field position for USC. To have to punt away from a guy like that, that's a very real factor that teams will have to account for now going forward with USC. So another factor that leans towards USC's offense, starting field position. This is not the last time we're going to see something like this from him. Had a phenomenal first game. That's his first game in college. What do you think he's going to do going forward? USC doesn't play a super difficult schedule until they get to October, and then it's an absolute gauntlet. But Zachariah Branch is a name that we already all sort of thought he was going to be able to pop this coming season, or rather this season that we're in right now. But with what he showed yesterday, with how comfortable he looked, there was no adjusting to the speed of the game for him. And when they get to Pac-12 competition, they play Notre Dame and all that. Like when they get to playing tougher teams, I'm sure it'll look different than it did against San Jose State. But even so, man, Zachariah Branch, I cannot stress this enough. What we saw last night from him was special. And I think it's just the start for him. So, USC, another weapon for Caleb Williams to get the ball to. Doesn't matter how you do it. Get us number one. Good things will happen. Make sure you're subscribed right here. We talk college football every single day. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.